Hi there, YouTube. Gamer Ninja here, and welcome to another deck garage. My last deck garage was an Elemental Hero deck, quote unquote, and I decided to sort of redo it a bit. And well, actually, this is an entirely separate deck, but it's sort of it's more traditional hero deck. It's a lot of fun, actually. I've had a lot of fun. This is probably one of my favorite decks, second only to Gusto's and my Yang Zigs, but that's because I love those things more than anything right now. I sort of threw it together a bit for fun. A friend of mine helped me play it at locals, actually, and we do some proxy cards to take place of cards that weren't actually out, and we had a lot of fun play testing and messing around with it. So, yeah, let's get right into it. I called this the Masked Hero variation. For obvious reasons, it's using the new Masked Hero cards, which just came out, and they're really strong. So let's get started here. We have one Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning. It's Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning. We run a lot of light and darks. Not a whole lot else to be said. We also run one Honest because we have a lot of lights. Blackluster Soldier plus Honest is basically game in most situations. And it's just a really good light type monster. We run 3 Voltic over 3 Aeolus. I like Voltic more because of the new Elemental Hero. The Masked Hero, I'm sorry. Because the new Masked Hero is not only a light type, so Voltic can bring it out with Mask Change, but it also banishes stuff from your graveyard to trigger its effect. So Voltic's its own effect will go off even more often, and it just works out really nicely. Aeolus is still a fine card if you wanted to run like uh, 2 Voltic, 1 Aeolus, or 2 Aeolus, 1 Voltic. That would probably work out fine. You'd be a little bit more beatdown heavy. I just prefer the utility that Voltic brings, and it works out really nicely. Next up, we have 3 Elemental Hero Shadow Mist. This is better and worse than Elemental Hero Stratos. I mean, Stratos was way easier to use, but Shadow Mist is just so explosive. For those of you who don't know what Elemental Hero Shadow Mist does, when this card is special summoned, you can add 1 change quick play spell card from your deck to your hand. And if it's set to the graveyard, add 1 hero monster from your deck to your hand, except Elemental Hero Shadow Mist. So you get up to 2 searches just by this card hitting the field, and it's just a really good card overall. We have run 2 Summoner Monk. We do run quite a few spell cards, and some of them are dead if we get them too late. And Summoner Monk just lets us go through them pretty quickly and actually use them for something. It lets us bring out our other level 4s for rank 4 plays. It's a dark type. There isn't a whole lot else to say about this. Next, we run 2 Elemental Hero Bubblement. You can run 3. I think 2 is enough. It's an easy rank 4 play and more draw power if done properly. It's a really solid card, and it's a water type for Elemental Hero Absolute Zero. Yeah, it's a really good card. And speaking of Elemental Hero Absolute Zero, I love Elemental Hero Ice Edge. It's such a good card. It forces so many things. Unfortunately, I could only find room for one of it because all the other cards are way more important. But Elemental Hero Ice Edge is a great card. It has won me so many games because it can attack directly, and if it deals battle damage, the opponent's forced to destroy one of their spell or trap cards. So what this means is that if the opponent has, say, Solemn Warning, and you summon Ice Edge, they now have to choose to either take 800 and lose their Solemn Warning for nothing, or pay 2,000 and they might get rid of Ice Edge, but you can always do something else for something later. It just opens up so many counterplays, and it just gets around so many things, and it forces a lot of pressure on the opponent. And it's our one form of consistent back row of removal in the main deck. This is really unusual to me. I usually hate enemy back row. But we actually have ways to repeatedly nuke it, so it's pretty okay. Next, we run 3 E emergency calls. It's E emergency call. It's searching power. You literally search out almost every single card in the deck except for what? 4? 4 cards in the deck? 4 monster cards in the deck? It's really good. Even if you run out of searches, it still targets for a Summoner Monk. It's really good. 3, a hero lives. I hated this card. I really did hate this card a long time ago. But when they released Shadow Mist, this card suddenly became way, way stronger. Paying half your life points, while is a hefty cost, but being able to just drop Shadow Mist, get a search, mask change spell card is just ridiculously strong, and it's too strong not to use. And even if you can't use a hero Liz, it's still another target for Summoner Monk. It's a really good card. You could get away with 2. I like having 3 just for that opening turn, and it's just really, really good. Next up, we run 3 Miracle Fusion. It's Miracle Fusion. It's better than if you're using Polymerization, go shoot yourself. Super Polymerization's alright, but Miracle Fusion's where it's at. 1 Dark Hole, because, hey, field nuking. 2 Mask Charge. Now, this is one of those cards that it's either this or Super Polymerization, and both are viable. I really like Mask Charge because it lets me keep on having cards in my hand and keep on having explosive plays. But Super Polymerization just can let you end the game almost instantaneously if you use it at the right time. That isn't to say that this can't end games, but it's not quite as explosive. It's a really good card, though, and I honestly am quite happy with it. You could run 1 and 1, I guess, but Super Poly can sometimes be dead. So, that's really your prerogative. Next 3, Mask Change. Hey, Mask Change. That's totally a fair and balanced card. I get to special summon stuff during my battle phase, and it's actually a really strong beater that I summon. Yeah, I'd run 4 of those, but I can't because of rule adjustments. Oh wait, we have Mask Change second, which is basically the same fucking thing, except I have to discard a card. Yeah, and I can't use XYZs, but that's another story altogether. Next up, we run 1 Bottomless Trap Hole, 1 Torrential Tribute, because Bottomless Hole, Torrential Tribute are OP as hell, 2 Dimensional Prison, because fuck the Fire and Ice hands and Beals and all that stuff, 2 Breakthrough Skills, because negating the opponent's effects are OP, 2 Call of the Haunted, because being able to reborn Shadow Mist for plays is hilarious, 2 Wiretap, because we don't want to get hit by Mirror Forces, and a lot of our plays are pretty, all in and open. So we want to have at least some protection there. And finally, 1 Solemn Warning, because Solemn Warning. There wasn't really a whole lot else to put into this slot anyway, and it's a really strong trap card. Not a whole lot else to say. Let's get to the extra deck here. Now, we start off with one of the new Elemental Hero cards. Contrast Hero, Chaos. Must be Fusion summoned. While this card is face up on the field, it is also a light attribute. Once per turn, you could, during either player's turn, that's important, you could target 1 face-up card on the field, negate that card's face-up card's effects until the end of the turn. And it's a 3k beater, it can protect itself, it's a really strong card. It's really, 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 really good. 1 Elemental Hero, The Shining, this is your light Miracle Fusion target, it's Elemental Hero, The Shining. It's probably the best of the generic Elemental Heroes fusions, the generic attribute Elemental Hero fusions. Second only to maybe Elemental Hero Absolute Zero. And I just have a huge bias for Elemental Hero Absolute Zero, I'll be perfectly honest. But still, it's a really strong card. 2 Masked Hero Acids. I normally only run 1, but every now and then I run into that point where I realize, hey, I could bring out a second Masked Hero Acid. Oh wait, I only have 1, and then I lose. When it's special summon, you destroy all spell or trap cards your opponent controls, and then if you do, your opponent loses all your monsters your opponent controls, lose 300 attack. It affects the back row, it affects the front row, it's a really good card. It's a 2600 point beater. Attack with Ice Edge or Bubble Man, Mask Change, go into this, nuke the back row, laugh, and then go into a second Mask Change, pull out your second run, laugh. Actually, the real devastating combo is summon out Elemental Hero Absolute Zero, attack with it, Mask Change it out, so his effect will go off, and then you bring out Acid and you just basically nuke the entire enemy's front line and back line for absolutely no trouble whatsoever, and you just slam them for about 50-100 points of damage. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. One elemental hero Ascarudo, you do run dark types, Miracle Fusion dark type targets. It's an okay card. It's a 2,500 point beater at worst. And 2,500 points does let you at least slam into things like Stardust Dragons for a trade. One elemental hero Absolute Zero. It's my favorite elemental hero. I love this thing. I love this thing. I love this thing. It's so totally freaking OP. Yeah. Next up we have two Masked Hero Kogas, and this is the I'm sorry, light elemental hero, light masked hero. I'm sorry, all these heroes are confusing me. Light masked hero. Uh, this card gains 500 attack for each monster your opponent controls. Okay, cool. That immediately makes it strong. Once returned during either player's turn, important, you can banish one hero monster from your graveyard, then target one face-up monster on the field. It loses attack equal to the banished monster's attack until the end of the turn. This is fair. How? You banish stuff from the opponent's from your own graveyard. You cut down the opponent's attack. You get more attack the more stuff that they have. This thing just opens up a lot more playabilities. I've actually done a really funny play where an opponent attacks my elemental was going to attack my elemental hero, the Shining, and try to run it over. And then I just used Master Koga, banished a hero, gave Shining more attack power, cut his monster's attack points down, and all of a sudden he can't do a damn thing that turn, and he was really, really upset with me. Top it off, it's a 2,500 point beat stick at worst. It's probably going to be at least 3,000. It's a boss monster. It's really strong. Please use at least two. Also, it combos well with Voltec, as does Shining, but that's another story. Next up, we have two, Masked Hero Darklaws. Masked Hero Darklaw is your off button to a lot of decks. It's a control-based card, and I love it. Like, okay, I kind of lied. This thing probably just took my spot for my favorite elemental hero. Or my favorite hero. Because, well, any card sent to the opponent's graveyard is banished instead. I get a 2,400 point attack point monster that is basically a macrocosmos that doesn't affect me. Say hello to your off switch to Boojins, to Madolches, to everything that the opponent could ever possibly have. This card is ridiculous. Once returned, when your opponent adds cards from their deck to their hand, except during the draw phase, you could banish one random card from your opponent's hand. More hand control. This thing is ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. This is, if it just had 500 more attack points, or even 200 more, it'd be ridiculously broken and run at 3. And it's just so strong. 2,400 points is a little bit weak, but it's still nothing to laugh at. And the amount of decks you shut down just by dropping this thing early is hilarious. This thing is probably one of the greatest cards ever made. Now we move on to the XYZs. You can bring these up pretty easily thanks to Summoner Monk and Bubbleman. So to start off, we run one number 103 Ragna Zero. This is for Fire Fists, your Boojins, and anything that runs Tenki, and also Madolches too, because fuck Madolches. I hate Madolches. I hate facing Madolches. Madolches can die. Madolches die to Darklaw. That's why Darklaw is my favorite. There, I just psychoanalyzed myself. Anyway. Yeah, Ragna Zero is your off switch to a lot of decks. It just adds more control. Dropping this and Darklaw just suddenly puts a huge amount of pressure on the opponent. 2,400 point beat stick, not bad. It's a water type, water attribute, really strong. Number 101, Silent Honor Arc Knight. Probably the best rank 4 right now. It kind of just gets rid of stuff. It's annoying. It's a water type. It's a rank 4. It's easy to bring out. It's a win button. Speaking of win buttons, do you like having 4K beaters? Because that's literally why I put this thing in. 2 warrior type monsters are really easy thanks to Darklaw and Bubbleman and such. Drop this thing, slam it into the opponent for 4K points of damage, you've just basically won. 1 Noble Swarm Beelzebub, or Evil Swarm Excitation Knight, because who likes nuking fields? This guy does. yeah, this card nukes fields and then just lets you regain control of the field temporarily. And it would hopefully maintain it. And finally, we run one Abyss Dweller. Hey, who hates mermaids? This guy does. Yeah, that's basically why you run Abyss Dweller. Next up to the side deck. Yes, I actually have a side deck, because I just basically wanted to emphasize that I personally hate Madolches even more. One Neospatian Grandmole? Okay, I'll be honest, this card is filler. This card is just so stupidly strong, though. It's a compulse on legs. It's so strong against decks that, XYZ spam, Synchro spam, because you just slam it into something and then it goes back to your hand, and their stuff goes back to the extra deck where they have to summon stuff again. One Thunder King Ryo. It's Thunder King Ryo. This plus Dark Law is hilarious. I would run it in the main deck if I didn't think it would screw me over too much, because I am adding a lot of stuff to their hands and such. But who knows? 2 DD Crow, because screw over Boojin, screw over Madolche, screw over anything that uses the graveyard, which is a lot of decks right now. It's really easy to use also. 2 Smashing Ground, because screw Boojins even more. It gets around Turtle, that's all I needed to hear. And it's also good removal just in general. 2 Mystical Space Typhoons, if you're up against really heavy back row stuff, just side them in over, I don't really care what, just maybe over an Ice Edge, or not Ice Edge, maybe over, what would I take out? I haven't really had to use these, I've usually just dropped Acid repeatedly, so I might just take them out. But all in all, it's just good to have if you're really getting annoyed by the opponent's back row. I haven't run into that issue too much. I've usually, again, just dropped Acid repeatedly until they run out of stuff to drop on the back row. 2 Super Polymerization. It's Super Polymerization. Again, you could run it over Mass Charge if you don't think you're going to need it too much. But yeah, Super Polymerization is a strong card, no doubt about it. 2 Mind Crush. Screw Boojins. Screw anything that searches. Screw over Madolche stupidly hard if you do it right. And yeah. Hey, Transmigration Break. Any cards that will be returned to the deck from the graveyard are removed from play instead. Hey, guess what? Fuck you, Madolches. That's all you need to know about this card. This is literally your permanent off button to Madolches until they drop Chateau. Actually, I don't know how the interaction works. But anyway, this is screw Madolches even more. And finally, 1 Debunk, because I ran out of stuff to actually put in this. Might as well have more Mermail hate, because it's Mermail hate. So, anyway guys, that is the deck. I actually had a lot of fun building this. It was a lot of fun trying to play around with the new Masked Heroes. A lot of them are stupidly strong. Dark Law in particular is, like, ridiculous. This just made Voltic immediately stupid strong. And then, this is surprisingly easy to bring out. It really is. But yeah, feel free to tell me what you think about the deck. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Leave a like, subscribe, and thank you all for all the support. I have something kind of special planned for 25 subscribers, so here's hoping that we reach that number sooner rather than later. I'm the Gamer Ninja, and I hope you enjoyed the Elemental Hero deck that I just posted for you. Have a great day, everyone.